Hey Mustangs, welcome to this Monday edition of the Daily Update. I'm Lauren Rangel.
And I'm Mnick. Let's get to the news. More than 101 million Americans are now fully vaccinated against COVID-19. That story tops today's Mustang Minute. The average daily case count has dropped by 16%, and other states have begun to ease their COVID restrictions. In Michigan, restaurants and bars can operate at 65% capacity. Kentucky recently reopened Churchill Downs, their horse racing complex. Americans are still being encouraged to receive their vaccinations.
More than 90 people were found in a home in Houston while officers were responding to a kidnapping report. No children were found at the scene of the kidnapping. Police believe this is a case of smuggling and not human trafficking. The victims and the resident owner are still trying to be identified. Disneyland in California reopens Friday after 13 months of being closed. Tourism officials are hoping that the theme park reopening is a sign of state's rebound from COVID-19. Only in-state visitors are allowed, and the park will be operating at a 25% capacity cap. Disneyland is requiring everyone to wear masks and asking people to keep their distance and use hand sanitation stations. Popular rides will be open, but no live theater performances are scheduled.
Tragedy strikes off the coast of San Diego as vessel capsizes, killing at least 4 people. SMU-TV's Katie Pratt joins us live with more on the story.
4 people are dead and 20 people are in the hospital after a vessel suspected of smuggling crashes off the coast of San Diego on Monday. The 40-foot cabin cruiser crashed into a reef and broke apart. That's when 30 people came out of the vessel as it overturned. Due to privacy laws, there's no update on the patient's conditions, but we do know that the person who was driving the boat is in custody. CBP says that they will be increasing patrol this weekend as to deter smugglers. For SMU-TV, I'm Katie Pratt.
Thank you, Katie, for that report. The transportation mask mandate, which has been in place since February, has been extended. The mandate requires travelers to wear a mask on airplanes, boats, buses, and more. Flight attendants applaud the TSA's decision to extend of the mandate. It will now be in place until at least September 13th. SMU is reporting a shortage of international students this year. Before the pandemic, SMU had more than 2,000 international students. Now, the university has less than 1,000 enrolled. The shortage has negatively affected SMU student clubs like the Association of Latino Professionals for America, also known as ALPHA. Members of the organization say the pandemic is the main reason why. They hope the numbers will increase once students return to campus this fall. ALPHA also wants to remind students that the club is not exclusive. Anyone can join, regardless if they are Latino or not.
Time now to look back at the top political stories of the semester. Here's Martha Mills with Real Talk.
Hey Mustangs, welcome to this special edition of Real Talk, where we look at some of the biggest political headlines of the semester. I'm your host, Martha Mills. Let's get real. On January 20th, Joe Biden was inaugurated as the 46th President of the United States. 3 former presidents wished Biden well in a pre-recorded video that aired during the inauguration: Republican George W. Bush and Democrats Bill Clinton and Barack Obama. While his predecessor, former President Trump, did not partake in the video, he did leave behind what Biden called, quote, a very generous letter, end quote, to his successor. After the inauguration, Biden got straight to work signing 17 executive moves on his first day in office. Some of these include halting funding for the border wall, reversing the travel ban, and re-entering the Paris Climate Accords. By his side, Vice President Kamala Harris made history as the first woman, the first Black person, and the first person of South Asian descent elected vice president. This is also the highest-ranking position a woman has ever served in the United States government. Harris was sworn in by another groundbreaking woman, Justice Sonia Sotomayor, the first Latina Supreme Court justice. The days of Trump tweets came to an end in early January. Twitter shocked the world when it banned former President Trump from its platform permanently. The social media platform announced the ban on January 8th, 2 days after the Capitol Hill riots, due to, quote, the risk of further incitement of violence, end quote. On February 20th, Twitter emphasized that the ban will stay in place, even if Trump decides to run for office again. Former President Donald Trump was acquitted in his second impeachment trial for his role in the Capitol Hill chaos of January 6th. The formal charge was incitement of insurrection. The Senate voted 57-43 to convict, but the vote fell 10 votes short of the 2/3 majority requirement to convict. 7 Senate Republicans joined all of the Democrats to voting to convict, while the remaining 43 Senate Republicans voted against conviction. Since taking office, Biden has been anything but slow to implement his vision, signing one executive order after another and pushing legislation through Congress. Most notably, his American Rescue Plan was a $1.9 trillion coronavirus rescue fund signed into law on March 11th. Now the president is pushing his infrastructure plan, gun control legislation, and police reform. Thanks for watching this special edition of Real Talk. Remember to have a great day, keep it real, and pony up.
India continues to battle a devastating second wave of coronavirus infections, and Colombians take the streets to protest a new tax law. Those stories and more are in this week's World News for World Changers with SMU-TV's Brooklee Hahn.
Hi Mustangs, welcome to World News for World Changers. I'm Brooklee Hahn, and here are your global headlines. India is continuing to battle a vicious second wave of COVID-19. On Friday, the country reported more than 401,000 new coronavirus cases. This is the highest number of new infections reported in a single day since the start of the pandemic. India also recorded more than 3,500 deaths on Friday. Although the situation is dire, there is some good news. India has received 150,000 doses of Russia's Sputnik V vaccine, with thousands of more doses on the way. Tens of thousands of Colombians have taken to the streets despite court orders to protest a proposed tax reform. Demonstrations have turned violent in the cities of Cali and Bogota as protesters have clashed with riot police and the military. The proposed reform would lower the threshold at which salaries are taxed, and it would also eliminate many of the current tax exemptions on individuals. The government says the tax reform is essential in mitigating the economic crisis caused by the pandemic. Lockdown measures continue for a fourth of the population in the Philippines. More than 25 million people in Manila and the surrounding metropolitan areas have been in some form of lockdown for more than 140 days since the start of the pandemic. The latest lockdown is set to end on May 14th. Meanwhile, in Turkey, new lockdown measures are in place. The restrictions come as the country deals with slow vaccine rollout and the highest infection rate in all of Europe. The lockdown is set to last through the end of the holy month of Ramadan. Live music, dancing, and not a face mask in sight. Thousands of British music fans gathered Friday night at a live music event as part of the government's Events Research Program. Scientists used the event to provide data to help UK officials create a plan for the reopening of nightclubs and events this summer. The aptly named First Dance was held in a converted warehouse in Liverpool, and tickets were available to those living in the area. Attendees had to provide a negative COVID-19 test result to enter, and officials recommend the partiers take another test 5 days after the event. Fatboy Slim and Jada G performed live at the event. And that's the news from around the globe. Thanks for watching.
Thanks, Brooklee, for that report. And that's your Mustang Minute.
My favorite part of cheer is being able to have an individual talent and also be a part of the team. I've learned that it's really about passion and commitment.
I think part of that too is being able to be on a team.
Cheer is about more than just, supporting the athletic teams, going to competitions, tumbling, stunts, skills. It's really about learning life lessons. There's nothing else really like it on campus because it's something you have to try out for, you have to work for, but it's also a whole lot of fun and we get to experience a lot of different things.
For more information on the SMU cheerleading team, visit www.smucheer.com.
Hey Mustangs, it's time for your 5-day forecast. It looks like we can expect nice weather all week, so be sure to take a study break and head outside. On Monday, we can expect warm temperatures and partly cloudy skies. The high will be in the 90s with lows in the mid-60s. Tuesday, there will be partly cloudy skies again. The high will be in the lower 70s with lows in the 50s. Wednesday, the skies will part ways and the sun will shine. The high will be in the upper 70s with lows in the mid-50s. Thursday, the sun will stick around and shine bright. The highs will be in the lower 80s with lows in the upper 50s. Friday, there will be mostly sunny skies. The highs will be in the lower 80s with lows in the upper 60s. Well, Mustangs, be sure to enjoy this beautiful weather this weekend. And that's your 5-day forecast. For SMU-TV, I'm Lauren Rangel.
This is Jenny Rudolph, here with your weekly roundup. Today, we're wrapping up the school year and taking a look at some of the biggest news this semester. America watched as thousands of rioters broke into the U.S. Capitol on January 6th. Supporters of former President Donald Trump attempted to prevent Congress's vote to formalize President Biden's election victory. More than 140 people were injured and 5 died during and after several hours of rioting. Now, 4 months later, more than 140 people have been charged and more than 170 cases have been opened by the FBI, with more expected to come. More than 100 million people in the U.S. have received their COVID-19 vaccine since distribution began in December. The CDC announced that fully vaccinated Americans can now dine at outdoor restaurants and take off their masks at small outdoor gatherings. Vaccinations peaked in mid-April, but demand is slowing. The U.S. is now averaging less than 2.5 million vaccinations a day, and in some parts of the country, the nation faces a surplus of vaccines that risk going unused. Former Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin was convicted in the murder of George Floyd last May. The officer, known for kneeling on the neck and back of Floyd for 9 minutes and 29 seconds, was found guilty of second-degree murder, third-degree murder, and second-degree manslaughter. Chauvin faces a maximum of 40 years for his crimes, but given Minnesota state guidelines, he's likely to receive a sentence of 12.5 years. The trial was broadcast live due to COVID-19 attendance restrictions, and the verdict led to cries of joy from many viewers across Minnesota and the nation. 8 people were killed and 1 person was wounded in the deadly Atlanta spa shootings in March. The attack, which led to the death of 6 Asian American women, drew attention to the rise of anti-Asian violence in the U.S. Across the world, anti-Asian hate crimes have increased since the beginning of the COVID-19 pandemic. Police say the suspected shooter, Robert Aaron Long, attacked 3 different Metro Atlanta spas and has been charged with 8 counts of murder. According to CNN's Gun Violence Archive, the U.S. has seen at least 147 mass shootings this year of more than 4 people. A record-breaking winter storm swept its way across Texas, knocking out power, heat, and water to millions across the state. According to the Texas Department of State Health Services, 151 people died across the state, many due to hypothermia. Meanwhile, 23 died in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. The brutal storm left many people with burst pipes and other property damage that some homeowners are still reeling from. And that's your semester roundup. For SMU-TV, I'm Jenny Rudolph.
With the warm and sunny summer months coming up, gardening and planting is a perfect way to get outside and benefit the environment. SMU-TV's Shelby Fishman tells you more about the benefits of growing plants and more in your own backyard.
Many people have made gardening and growing plants a hobby, especially during quarantine. It's a passion to benefit both your mental health and the environment.
If you just have that passion, it can open up doors for you that take you away from things that deplete the earth.
It's important to respect the Earth's environment as it produces vital necessities like the food we eat and the air we breathe.
We should treat the environment like how we treat our plants that we own.
Growing plants in your own backyard can benefit the environment since plants naturally produce clean oxygen. Even growing your own produce can help reduce your carbon footprint as it saves energy and fuel you otherwise would use driving to the grocery store.
It can also grow a desire in you to plant herbs and vegetables that you can use in your kitchen instead of buying them from the grocery store.
Growing native plants is essential because it supports biodiversity native to your area.
It's really important to plant plants that are native to your environment or that thrive in your environment and attract butterflies and bees.
Growing and gardening is a great way to get outside and appreciate the environment around you.
If you start getting involved with planting, it just grows your imagination to other things that you could possibly do.
For SMU-TV, I'm Shelby Fishman.
To get your garden going, check out a local plant shop near you.
Well, that's all we have for you today, Mustangs. Remember, you can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/SMU Television and follow us on Twitter and Instagram at SMU-TV. If you have any story ideas, shoot us an email, smutv@smu.edu. Thanks for watching this Monday edition of the Daily Update. This is the last Daily Update of the semester, but tune in this fall for more news from the Hilltop.
Until then, have a great summer and pony up.
SMU-TV and the Division of Journalism want to thank our underwriters, North Park Center in Dallas, Javier's Gourmet Mexicano on Cole Avenue, and Advance ER off West Lovers Lane. We appreciate your support of student media.